feel lonely? Because I do. The loneliness epidemic has been a major trend this year. The more I think about it, the more I feel like this loneliness is just another phase of our individualistic culture. There's so much focus in healing the self, but that comes with loneliness. It can become somewhat addictive. Ciao, this is Anastasia, and welcome to the Extra Virgin Lifestyle. This is a space for women embracing new beginnings after 40, finding meaning in frugal living, and much more. All the self-healing, all the self-focusing, and all the individualism can make us live in our own bubble. But here's what I'm noticing. As we crave loneliness as women, we also crave community at the same time. A different community, a community made of women that think like us, feel like us, that can share the same worldviews. We're basically looking for our own people. We're exhausted by forced isolation, an isolation that we often self-impose to get through this world with a lot of nonsense. It's a double sword edge. We say we want connection, we say we want to belong to something bigger than us. And I think about all the women called to live a more simple life, a more meaningful life centered on meaningful connections, mutual support. And especially my thought goes to those single mothers who feel like somewhat society has failed them, that they have kids that they want to raise among perhaps other women that think the same way, to recreate a sort of a village how it was in the past, where there was a lot of mutual support. I remember my aunt telling me a story about this when they used to go in the fields. My great-grandfather used to hire widow women to work in the fields to support them. And my great-grandmother used to take care of the kids during the day. Think about that world in Italy. Back then there was poverty, but there was a way to help each other. Maybe in some society there is still there, but we don't have that in Italy at the moment. There's not such a thing. Where I'm going with this, I know that there's a movement. I know that we talk about that among my friends, a movement of women craving a way to recreate a community, a way to help each other more. I have friends in New York that are single mothers, and for example, for a while we were thinking about all buying a brownstone together so that we could all take care of each other and the kids and babysit. The problem is that maybe we don't realize what being part of a community really means. For example, being part of a small community in a small town in Italy, like it's happening to me right now. I've been one of these city people that it's very self-sufficient, very individualistic, and moving back to Italy has shown me my limitations. I lived so long in the United States, in New York, and it doesn't get more individualistic than that. America, it's a very specific place where there's quite a lot of social instability, segregation, I would say. People of different classes, people of different backgrounds have a hard time coming together. This has a lot to do with community, the way we mean it. The main factor is, of course, social status. We know that, the more money you make in America, the more you have access to certain neighbors, certain schools, certain health services. And so you see that people get together based on social status, on income. In Europe, for example, people get together based on shared interests. Yes, perhaps in the cities it's a bit more like America, a little bit more. But in rural Italy, for example, people that have shared interests in the community, they get together based on that interest. For example, I go to a gym here, and it's a gym where there are athletes training with housewives, with housemaking and regular people. Everybody is working out together. What it's really nice is that people from different ages, elderly, kids, middle-aged people like me, they all can get together doing things based on shared interests and just being part of a small town or a community. which is very, very nice. These years away, I often miss that. I miss that, this, how people come together here. And at the same time, I craved an ideal community of women that share the same interest in nature, slow living, mindfulness, and a return to nature. People that have, like me, experienced different cultures, different places, and that we can come together on more of, if you want to say, a philosophical level. So I put myself in the shoes of other women that are feeling the same way, that feel a little bit lost between choices that they've made of moving away, or navigating cultural transitions, societal transitions. And so I started thinking community is not just something you do when you have time, it's not just a luxury. Community is something that takes dedication, that takes time. Unfortunately, we are used to think that, of course, time is money. Yes, probably community takes money in terms of time. You literally trade time to be part of a community. It takes to showing up even when you don't want to show up. And I'll get back to this concept later in the video. In Western cultures, in this society that's like me, especially for people that grow up in big cities, this concept of community and giving it time might be radical, even controversial, almost rebellious. For example, I'm going to a funeral tomorrow. I have to. I want to. And I'm so grateful I'm here to go. It's a family friend, it's somebody that I have great memories with. It's healing. It's not that I can do anything for these people, but showing respect and going to this funeral, it's going to be healing. It's going to be just a little thing. It's called paying respect, and it's really ingrained in this culture. But it's going to take time. It's going to take a couple of hours, 2 3 hours, that I'm not going to dedicate to my work, that I'm not going to do the millions of things I've got to do, right? Of course, when I was living away, how many funerals I missed. But being part of a community means, again, as I was saying before, you have to show up when you don't want to, when you don't feel like it, because it's the right thing to do. We all know each other here, and so it's like I have a lot of old acquaintances, friends, not really friends, but people that we know, that I grew up with, that I went to school with. And so this is going to happen again. There's going to be, unfortunately, more funerals, more things. And what do? You go, because that's the way it is. And this is what's broadly means being part of a rural community. Another example is that I'm close to my family now. I have, aging relatives. Of course, there's an expectation that we try to see each other, that something happens, someone falls, someone needs to go to the hospital. Well, like we spend time taking care of these relationships, helping out. I've been thinking a lot of this contrast coming from New York City, coming back here, about the culture and about the whole making time for community. Of course, even Italy has changed. Of course, there's not that mutuality that there used to be 100 years ago, 50 years ago, even. People are much more on their own. People see each other less. Time is money here too, and work as the priority over everything. But being back, I noticed that there's still this, this slower approach, and that meaningful approach to community. Community means slowing down, listening to people. Community means you get out on the street and you can't just go 1,000 miles an hour as I do. You stop on the street, you talk to people, you spend 10 minutes chit chatting. Because this is what a community is. You cannot escape a community. There's a sort of, we're here together. So if you're thinking about moving here, relocating to Italy, for example, this video, I'm making it for people that are interested in this idea. Think about it. When you come from a hustle culture, a big city, this could be a shock. How much people interact here and how much slower are things. We're also used to be by ourselves and being self-sufficient, but community is different. It's not that. Being in a community, you might depend more on others and there's more give and take. This culture of being individualistic and being on our own and being self-sufficient, that's what leads to isolation. That's why there's a loneliness epidemic. It's the world itself that's leading us to feel lonely. Not the loneliness we need to recharge, but that loneliness that hurts. So moving to a small town, rural Italy, rural everywhere you want, and creating, cultivating ties with the community, and then refining that, right? And then there's a different concept of community, right? There's the online communities, community, what can give to you and what you need to give to community. It's this give and take of the community that I'm interested in. Being authentically us in a community means we'll be judged, and that's okay. They'll judge you, they won't understand everything on you, but they'll see you. They probably will remember the parts that matter most. And our individualistic needs, yes, they get sacrificed. That's the deal. That's the price to pay to be part of a community. I remember this saying when I was a kid: work first and then play. That single phrase, that's the phrase that seems to justify every neglect of family, neglect of friendships, neglect of community. We organize our whole existence in being productive instead of being present. Even during the holidays, sometimes I feel like, I had that feeling, oh my God, there's so much time on my hands now. I'm relaxing on the sofa. I'm not being productive. And so what? That's fine. The holidays are a good moment, a good occasion to really reflect on community. I remember when I was a kid, those moments before cell phones, before social media, with my grandmother, my aunt, just sitting on the table in the kitchen. We were just chatting, venting, discussing anything you can imagine. And that was so healing. That, of course, you're a kid, you don't have to work, it's Sunday, whatever, you don't have obligations. But I try to recreate these moments with my relatives here. I try to go visit and to chat and to connect. In terms of connecting and creating a community, I feel really accomplished by making these videos and creating a community of like-minded women, like-minded people that share the same love for healthy food, for great extra virgin olive oil and everything amazing, that we use food as medicine. People that share the same interest for slow living, healthy living, peaceful living. I do have a friend in New York, and he's great because he's a colleague actually. And every Thanksgiving, he opens up his apartment in New York and invites all sorts of people that are, from abroad, like me, like expats or people that are from other places. And they do this huge Thanksgiving feast. And he also likes to cook and entertain. So I think it's really great. I think it's a really great way to connect to through food and opening up our homes, literally opening up our brains to trying to connect with people that might seem different than us. I'm not saying to be reckless, but I'm saying to stay open mentally, to create community. And so yeah, my friend, I think it's really cool that he does this open house Thanksgiving, and I can relate a lot to that because I love to cook and entertain through food. So I really understand why he does it and the joys that bring. This Christmas, I'm not asking you to reinvent yourself. Just show up in your community, show up real, vulnerable you. After all, the Christmas story, it is a story of vulnerability. We have this couple, Joseph and Mary, overwhelmed, vulnerable, showing up at this table, looking for shelter, looking for, some peace. That's the opposite of polished. That's radically being vulnerable. And that's why that story matters. What if your present to your family, your friends would be you present, you being there? A honest chat, a phone call, just something simple but meaningful. A real community in the end asks us, can you show up? Can you be inconvenienced? Hold space for others? Can you be honest when it hurts? That's not easy. That takes courage, especially for us women that we spend decades to be good, to be acceptable, to be proper, to be small. But that's where the real magic happens, not in the performance, but in being present. That's the true gift of community. Because in communities, you cannot hide. These questions about showing up authentically, they're the same questions I explore in my journal. If you want to sit with this feeling longer, the journal walks you through that. I designed it myself and I'm proud I did it. You can find the link in the description down below. And thanks for spending time with me. I love reading your thoughts. I love knowing how you're spending these holidays. I love to know how you're living your version of the extroversion lifestyle. If something here resonates, just share it with a friend or drop a comment down below. Until next time, I wish you the happiest of the holidays.